So what we have here is the Windmill Cube, or also known as a wheel puzzle. That's how YJ presents it. And today I'm going to teach you a tutorial about how to solve this. I'm going to be including algorithms, and I'll be writing them in the description below, as well as trying to give you everything you need to know to solve this cube. Of course, it is a very interesting looking cube, and one of the biggest draws is to be able to keep it in this state, which looks rather impressive. Alternately, by shimming up the middle layer, it looks even better this way. But that's not what we're here for. We're here to solve it, and that's what we're going to do today. So, good luck. Step one in solving this, of course, is mixing it up. And at first glance, the first time I mixed up, I had a hard time really understanding how this thing even turned. I'm not going to spend too much time with notation and everything. I'm going to assume you know how to solve a standard 3x3 cube. And I'm going to use notations that suggest that you do. So R prime is, of course, turning the right face counterclockwise, as would be shown here, and so forth. So if you don't know how to do all that stuff, well, that's a different tale, and you probably should look that up elsewhere. Otherwise, if you do know that, you should be able to follow this in several easy steps and take from this into this. Alright, so the first step in solving the Windmill Cube, or YJ wheel puzzle as I purchased, is to get the cross on the white side. You can do this on the yellow side. However, by doing so, you reverse all the algorithms I teach, and I never do that. So, first off, get the cross. Again, this should be intuitive based on any experience you have with a regular standard Rubik's Cube. So, I'm not going to teach you how to do that, and if all goes well, that shouldn't take too long. And as you can see, I've got my cross solved. They're solved in the right spots. However, you'll notice that the orientation of these pieces here are not correct. Well, we'll solve that in the next section. Of course, this one here is correct. Okay, to orient these pieces here, the only step I'm going to really give you in solving the top face, it's actually quite simple. Once you have your cross, and this is not oriented, spin your cube the right side or whatever side 180 degrees. Move this piece out of the way, and then rotate this where this is angled away from you. By doing so, when you push this back, it's good. Spin it back up, and you've got this oriented. Two sides are correct. Here we've got to do it as well. Again, I'm going to go rather quickly on this first section, assuming you know how to do a standard 3x3 cube. And here we go. We've got our plus, and all four of these edges are oriented. Next will be, of course, to solve these corners, but this works precisely as it does on a standard Rubik's Cube. I'll leave that up to you. But in order to do it, I might as well do it and zip through this. I'm not going to teach you how to do it because you know how to do that, I'm sure. So let's see. In this step, we're going to be solving this middle layer by positioning and orienting our pieces in their correct spots. Now here you're going to find one of two situations. One will be where this edge piece, which is this middle layer piece, which is defined by not having any colors on the side of it, when it will be facing kind of away from you. It'll be sloped away, and that's that. Or you can have another situation where this piece, again without any colors on the edge, which belongs in this middle layer, is sloped up towards you. Now, this is a little bit different. You can notice there's a bit of a ledge you can see here, whereas this piece here, there is no ledge. Now, those are the two different situations you can get yourself into. Each requires one specific algorithm. It is not very hard to follow. And so it goes as follows. Let's see. If the one is facing away from you, okay, not shooting up towards you with a ledge, but if it's facing away from you, you're going to begin by using this algorithm. So once again, you position this underneath this left piece. You want it to go up to the right. And it's being that it's pointed away from you, the algorithm is first down prime, R prime, down prime, R, down. Now you'll note that this piece now has to go up here. So what you're going to do is change faces. Before your green was your front face, now red is. You're going to move this and go left, down, left prime. And you've now positioned that middle layer without messing anything up. Now the next situation you'll find is a little bit different, and that's when this piece, this middle layer piece, is pointed up towards you, and there's a little ledge that you can see here. This algorithm is a little bit different in that it begins by starting on this face. Now the other algorithm, you started under this piece, but now you want to actually turn it to the right. And this entire algorithm is going to begin on this face. Down, left, down, left prime, down prime. Now once again you have to switch your faces a little bit. You can tell because this piece you know must go up here, and then do R prime, down prime, R. And that will move that piece up into this spot here. Now that you've gotten yourself in a position where you have the top two layers solved, and again, I don't know if there is any algorithm that solves F2L at once. I'm not going to worry about it. We're going to worry ourselves with the bottom layer. You're going to encounter one of two situations here. Three. One, of course, is when all the bottom cross is solved, but we don't have that here. That's quite all right. You will find either two, which are adjacent to one another, are solved, or two which are across from one another. The algorithms are very similar, and they will seem familiar to any people who have solved the 3x3 standard. So what you're going to do is you're going to take, for this case, because I need two that are next to one another, I'm going to put that as my front and left side. Again, we've got back and right solved, but front and left are not. We're getting the cross here. And when we do this, our algorithm is pretty simple. We do, let's see, front, down, left, and then down prime, left prime, front prime. And by doing that, you'll notice we've solved our cross. Now the other instance you might come across is when these two are on the same color, and you need to orient these two to solve, once again, that cross. What you'll do is you'll keep one of them in the front here, and you'll do a very similar algorithm. You'll do front, this time you're going to start with left, down, left prime, down prime, front. And by doing that, you have solved your yellow cross. Now at this stage, I get rather eager and I want to orient all my corners and have my yellow face solved, but that's not what we're going to do just yet. First off, what we're going to do is we're going to try to permute these edges to make sure that we're all in the right colors. Of course, we've got our standard green opposite blue opposite green, red opposite orange configuration. And what we're going to do is try to find two that are correct. So for instance, we know that the blue is here, but this is in fact not red because that's orange. But as I moved it over here, I did notice green was correctly placed, as was orange. You don't worry about the orientation right now. We'll figure that out in the next step. So in this case, we've got two that are misplaced. The other two situations you'll find are when all four are in the incorrect spots, or of course if they're all properly permuted. But this case is the most common one you're going to find. It's when two are required, and this is actually not such a bad thing. So we're going to take the two that are in the correct spots and put them again back and right. We're going to take our front face and our left face, which need to be swapped, and we're going to perform a very easy algorithm. We're going to say, okay, down, I'm going to say left, down prime, right prime, down, left prime, down prime, right. And by doing so, you'll note that all our faces are now correct. Now the other situation you might find yourself in is when you cannot find a pair of adjacent pieces. If green is here, orange is here, so that's no good. And if we put our orange here, we've got green here and blue here, it does us no good. In this case, we can't find any two that are next to each other, so all we have to do is that algorithm twice. It doesn't matter which face you start on, you're going to get a pair after it. So again, to do it rather quickly, down, which is pretty much unnecessary here, left, down prime, right prime, down, left prime, down prime, right. And by doing so, we're going to get ourselves in some situation where we have two. And in this case, we've got green, which matches green, orange, which matches orange, but these two have to be swapped. So once again, I face them, put them in my front and left faces, down, L, down prime, R prime, down, L prime, down prime, R. And by doing so, once again, we've now gotten blue opposite green, orange opposite red, and the world is a great place. Okay, so this is probably the most difficult step in solving the windmill cube, and this will be where you have to orient these last four pieces. You will find yourself coming into one of several different situations. One is when all four of these are incorrectly placed. The other, of course, is when they all are, and then you skip this step entirely. The other two positions are where you'll have three, where one's correct, or two, where two are correct. But for now, we're going to try the situation with four, and we'll go from there. Four, what you're going to find, you're going to look immediately for the two that are facing you. If you can see, these two are facing me, but not yellow. I'm not looking for yellow, because here I've got a red and a yellow, no good. Two yellows, no good. Green, yellow, no good. In this case, I want the two that are facing, and you're going to perform this algorithm that you're going to use throughout this step. If you come with establish that you have four that need to be oriented, you're going to have to do this algorithm twice. So we're going to start with the two that are facing us, and we're going to do this algorithm. All right, we begin right prime, down, prime, right, down prime, right prime, and down two, right. And if I got that right, we'll find ourselves now with 1, 2, and 3 sections that need to be oriented. That's good news. So the situation we have here is actually ideal. It's one of two different situations where you'll have 1, 2, 3 of these not oriented correctly. What you're going to want to do here is determine whether or not, which side the yellow is on. As you can see here, you've got green and the yellow is on the left face. Well, in all cases, you'll have left faced and the yellow will be on the left face. So you can have it alternate, of course, but in this case we're going to do it this way. If they're on the left face, not the right, you're going to hold the correctly placed yellow piece, you notice, under your left thumb and start on the right side. That's generally how I do it. And when you do that, you start with this algorithm. Right prime, down prime, right, down prime, right prime, down two, and right. And what that'll do, it'll orient all three. And in this case, it actually solved the entire cube. Now here's an example of the exact opposite. Again, you'll see we need to orient three different pieces, but in this case, the yellow face is on the right side, as you can see here. What I say, again, is the same as the other algorithm. I usually hold the correct piece under my right thumb and use this as my starting point on the left. So again, if the yellow is on the right, you start with the algorithm on the left, and vice versa. If the yellow is on the left side, you'll start by going to the right. In this case, the algorithm is about the same. You're going to do left prime. I'm sorry, let's start that over. Left, down, left prime, down, left, down twice, left prime. And in this case, it orients all three corners. One of the other positions you'll have is when you have two that need to be oriented and two still are. You can find several different variations of this, but of course you're going to need to do your algorithm one time in order to get it back to where there were three incorrectly placed spots. In this case, we've got two, and what I'm going to do here is I'm going to keep this yellow facing me on the left and start on the right and go the same algorithm. Right prime, down prime, right, down prime, right prime, R2, and right. And you'll see now we've arrived at the perfect state where we have three. Again, this is on the right hand side, and you go from there. And here we've arrived at the last step. Our goal now is, of course, to permute these edge pieces so that we can finally, of course, solve it. And in this step, what you're looking for is one face that is entirely correct. If you get this, then you're in perfect situation. If you do not get this, then you're going to have to do this algorithm two times. By doing it once, it will give you one face, and then you can start from here. So using this, the correct face as the back, I look here and I note where my pieces are. Now these are the three pieces we have to swap, and I'm looking orange goes here, green here, blue there. Therefore I want these to go clockwise. Alternately, sometimes it can be the other way around, and I'll show you the algorithm shortly. In fact, this is the same algorithm as we used on that last step, two steps ago.